Hello, and welcome to Weed and Grub.
I've written a statement.
Let's hear it.
I took the time, I rehearsed it, and I wrote a statement of apology to you, Mary Jane.
I'm so ready.
Yeah, you look ready.
Look at me, I just sat up straighter.
Yeah, go on.
Go on.
So to set the stage for this statement, when we were walking back late night after a really good meal,
Yes.
smoking a little lake-grade joint. Shout out to sun-grown lake-grade cannabis. Love it. They give
So
back.
good.
They plant trees. There's nothing I like more than eating a huge, satisfying meal and then doing a night walk with a lake-grade joint.
I love the smoke and stroll.
Smoke and stroll. Yeah. Yeah. So we're on a smoke and stroll, and I will read this statement now. I, Mike Glazer, of sound body and mind, would like to apologize to Mary Jane Gibson for making fun of her wrong underwear incidents. So before I continue, can you share what wrong underwear is?
Yes, it's when you wear the wrong underwear and they end up like down around your hips, loose in your pants, and you have to readjust in public. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. We've all had it happen. It happens to me a lot, I think, just because of how I'm shaped and obviously the underwear that I choose. I actually was wearing wrong underwear last week and I thought of you.
Oh, wow. Well,
Yep.
weird. Why? Because I'm like uncomfortable to be around?
Because you made fun of me when I told you the first time, like maybe kind of early on when we were starting to hang out. And I was like, I got the wrong underwear on today. And you were like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I shared it with you and you made fun of me. Yeah, so.
I did.
Yep.
Well, having now walked a mile in your shoes, albeit not in wrong underwear, but in wrong socks that kept sliding off my foot with every step, rolling into a weird hard ball in the middle of my foot inside of my New Balances.
Yeah.
I now see and feel how difficult it is to wear wrong attire. My socks went into the dumpster and my frustration with it, but not before learning a valuable lesson about our clothes and the strife they can provide. Nike socks do not mix with New Balance shoes. I am sorry. I am growing. I am learning.
Wow. Apology accepted wholeheartedly. I was with you during this wrong sock experience. I did see them go into the dumpster, and then you actually did walk sockless
I did.
back the rest of the way in your New Balances, which really truly shocked me because I know how you prize those shoes, and to be barefoot inside those must have felt a little weird, huh?
Hey, karma's a bitch. Karma's a bitch.
Yeah.
For real.
Yeah.
So I now am looking for new socks.
Yep.
If anyone has any new sock suggestions out there, I'm all ears because I love those New Balances, but I cannot wear my socks I currently have with them without them falling off.
Well, you're like an athletic socks guy, right? Like you're a short sock.
I don't
You're a
want
short
anything
socker.
above my ankle. That feels like a ball gag for my foot.
Listen, I recently had a long sock epiphany. I also am a short socker. I love the athletic sock. I love the hidden sock. And I used to wear those little like petty covers, that you wear inside like a ballet flat. I used to
Yeah.
even just rock those. But then I recently moved into long socks, like super long socks. Not knee socks, but like, full on high up socks. And they're fucking great.
You like it?
I love them.
What's your style these days that you're pulling off a long sock? Because I'm getting back into my like designer sweat game, and so
Yeah.
maybe a long sock is the way to go.
A long sock with, a nice pattern on it and preferably all natural fibers. Like I'm kind of rocking like the wool and the cotton right now.
Really?
Moved away from the acrylic short athletic sock because they just are, not great for you anyway.
No, high thread count all around,
Yes.
whether it's on you or you're sleeping on it.
That's right.
Give
Get
me
your
a high thread.
count on your pillows and your socks.
Literally high thread. Well, what up, Mary Jane?
How's it going, Mike?
Great. Welcome to Weed and Grub, everyone. This is a podcast about comedy,
Cannabis,
culture,
cooking,
calling shit out,
and being comfortable.
being comfortable,
And comfort.
yeah,
Yes.
and chefing.
And chefing, exactly, with our very exciting guest today.
Our VIB, our very important bud, Chef Roy Choi. Thank you for joining us.
The greatest.
Well, before we get into that, and after my apology, there's a couple more things we have to hit on.
Yes.
So do you want to get to the news?
I do want to get to the Grub Gazette. I first want to try these Sumo Snacks that we have on this table right here. I'm so excited to try. We've got 2 flavors of these awesome Sumo Cannabis Infused Snacks. I'm going to try the salsa verde.
It's 10 milligrams per bag.
Well, you can eat the whole bag.
So you can eat a whole bag of salsa verde chips and feel great.
You can eat 5 of them if you wanted to.
Yeah, you could eat 5 bags. Oh, I would do that.
Those are absolutely delicious. Sorry
Really?
for crunching in everyone's ear.
Hold on.
I'll pull away from the mic while I crunch.
A perfect powdering.
Yep.
You know how like a good like the best Dorito is the extreme cheese because it's like double dusted.
Right.
This is a really nice powdering.
Yep.
It's covered in every single crevice of a mini tortilla round.
Yeah, I feel like they did their R&D and they knew exactly the powder to chip ratio.
Yeah.
I also have Zesty Ranch here. You want to try these?
What are you holding out on a ranch for
Sorry.
me? You need to write me a statement
That's right.
apologizing for ranch hoarding.
You're a ranch rat. I'm a blue cheese baby.
These are good. Sumo is TSUMO.
I mean, you can find them on IG at Sumo Snacks. They're super fun. They're relatively new. They launched in California last summer, I think, and you can find them all over the place, and they're absolutely delicious.
This is really good. Ooh, I'm going to have one more before the news.
I keep crunching.
Okay. Wow.
So tasty, right?
So good. What are the other flavors you have here that
I
aren't
have
open?
fiery hot cheese crunchers, and I've got classic cheese puffs, and then we've got the salsa verde and the ranch.
I cannot wait till the Super Bowl. Also, you can't really taste the weed in here, so I could like eat a whole
Absolutely.
bag for lunch and be good to go.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Perfect at work snack, actually.
Yeah. Oh, you can put it in like your husband's
Yeah.
lunch every day.
Well, what do you mean put it in your husband's lunch?
I don't know. I had flashbacks
I'm like
of
out
like
here making lunch for husbands all of a sudden. Jesus. Welcome to 1958.
you know, with your apron on and the
Yeah.
TV playing.
I've got a load of laundry in.
Oh dear, I'm so sorry. I know we won't edit it out, but I am having strong edit vibes right now.
Yeah. Mary Jane really gives off the vibe that she makes husbands lunch. That's really how people see me. I'm very domestic.
Yeah.
I'm like a chaotic nightmare. I've never made anyone lunch. Well, that's not true, but I'm not making anyone lunch and putting it in a box and sending it off to work with them.
Tapping it, putting a nice note on it.
Oh, that is so nice that when people do that. Shout out to all the people who do that.
Let me pull up the news
All
so
right.
I can change the subject because I'm embarrassed. So this week, our news, the Grub Gazette, is coming to you from marijuanamoment.net. And it is a study. Young people who use marijuana have better orgasms and sexual function, study says.
Oh my. A study says this. How did they study this, I wonder? Did they just get a bunch of people high and then watch them bone? Or
I think, well, like I've been being followed around by a scientist now for like the past 3 weeks and I have no idea why.
they just keep pushing their glasses up on their nose and clearing their throat?
Yeah, they're like, what are you going to be doing alone in your bed at 3 a.m.? Can I stay here? I'm like, what?
Wow. Okay. Let's hear more about this study.
The study is actually coming out of Spain.
Oh, they definitely are just following them around over there.
Absolutely.
The Spanish are so very sexy.
Right?
Yeah. All they do is eat, smoke weed, and have sex. Truly.
Truly.
Yeah. I want to go live there. Should we go live in Barcelona?
Yeah, I'd love to go live
Okay.
in Barcelona, especially if this is the study. Like, that's enough of like Travelocity being like, get on a gondola and see the world. Like, no, have great orgasms with hot people while eating meat and cheese.
Yes.
Sold.
This is it.
Enough of that.
That's the way to world peace.
So this is coming out of the University of Almeria, and there have been a lot of studies that say that sex is enhanced by cannabis and alcohol use. But this one is specific because they wanted to do a study that assessed 185 females and 89 males between the ages of 18 and 30 who were either regular cannabis and alcohol users or non-users of cannabis and alcohol.
Okay.
Nobody's doing Molly. No one's doing Coke.
Right.
This is just
Weed and wine.
Weed and wine.
Okay.
And that's it.
And they've got a control group that is not totally sober.
Exactly.
Okay.
And so what they found was bordering into dependency, which they kind of put an asterisk to all of these to this study, where it's
Like you need the substance in order for this to actually be able to take place.
Exactly.
Okay.
And what they have found was that the improvements with the people who consumed cannabis and drank alcohol
Yes.
they associated that with better sex because it reduced anxiety and shame, which facilitates sexual relationships. And they found in non-users, they were still having sex, but the orgasms were not as strong. The arousal was not as arousing. And weed and booze get you in the mood.
Also, cannabis is a vasodilator. Like, it gives more blood flow to all parts of your body, and so it can actually help your erogenous zones and your genitalia, experience a blood flow, which then also will increase arousal.
Is that right? Oh, do you mean like a lube or something like that? Like a THC lube?
Just the act of smoking cannabis, it can like open up your blood flow just through consuming it. You don't have to apply it topically. Like, you can smoke a joint and then experience that as well.
Oh, that's so awesome.
In my experience.
That's so awesome. So it's like nature's Viagra a bit?
Yeah.
A little bit of
nature's Xanax and Viagra all in one.
Yo,
it is truly.
This plant.
It's an amazing plant.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
So that's essentially the study, but this is the part that makes me most excited about the study. So instead of saying like cannabis is going to save the world and alcohol is going to save the world, what they said that this actually shows is that the future of sex education is where things need to start, so that you're not relying on necessarily cannabis or alcohol or both to have these intense, wonderful orgasms. Instead, we should be focusing on sexual education practices from a young age that reduce shame and anxiety, and it will help people from becoming dependent on drugs in the first place.
Interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
What do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like they felt like they needed to throw that in there because, like cannabis is still considered a drug, I guess, by a lot of these studies. But
it feels like a the more you know, reading Rainbow kind of conclusion to their study.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I totally agree that, sex education is the most important thing in the world, and the younger that you can start teaching people about it so that they enter like puberty and adulthood as like fully formed beings with a knowledge of how it all works and how consent works, like that would be amazing. I mean, what a wonderful world we would have if everyone got sex education. I was really lucky when I was a teenager. I was just surrounded by a lot of really cool people. My parents were pretty open about things. And then also I got a really amazing job. The summer I was 16, I worked for the HIV AIDS Foundation of Newfoundland and Labrador. And I like went on tour to do a show that was talking about sex education and safe sex. And I ended up like putting condoms on bananas in high schools and stuff to teach kids about how to use a condom. So I got pretty fortunate to have a relatively early education, but I'm really excited about this next generation that's coming up because like the release of shame and stigma and guilt around sex, I really see happening with the Z's.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, ownership over your own body and consent and all that kind of stuff. Like I really, really see it in that conversation, and that's fucking exciting because get rid of that shame.
Exactly. Well, I think my sex talk, I don't remember having a sex talk with my parents. I think I remember it being softcore on Showtime or something.
Oh, wow.
It's like how I learned about it. And I was like, oh, you just keep your underwear on and you rub together to some weird pannings, cameras, and soft music. Is that sex?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, but then you sort of like also had like a pretty good awakening. I feel like you and I have talked about it. Like
Absolutely,
a good coming of age story.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But at no point in my experience until I had learned it for myself was I like, oh damn, smoking a spliff makes this 10 times more fun.
Right.
And I'm glad to hear some freak scientists using their grant money to rub their hands together and let the world know that orgasms rule if you get high.
Yeah.
Sign me up. And also sign me up next time.
Yeah, I will be a study participant for any substance. I would love. Well, you know what? Sex and mushrooms. I had a very strange experience with. I feel like mushrooms are just for running around in the woods for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can't connect. Do you know how if the amount of laughter I have on mushrooms would not help during sex?
It's not helpful. I mean, that's the thing. I was like, this is like the absurdity of everything is so apparent with, for me, with the right dose of mushrooms, like everything becomes so absurd and fun and joyful. And like sex being one of those is, that's not very sexy. You just be giggling the whole time.
At all. Just because of pole to hole ratio and how we all fit together as one incredible.
It really is kind of goofy.
It's too much.
Yeah.
It's too much
Weed
now.
Is great.
Yeah.
For the sexy times. Valentine's Day is coming up. Maybe instead of getting your beau a bouquet of flowers, get them some flour. Know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's real nice. Flour and condoms?
Yeah.
Yeah. That sounds really good. Mm-hmm. And some some snacks. Ooh, I'm thinking about the Super Bowl. We'll talk about that another time. I do have a theory, though.
Yes.
After pre-wrong sock incident,
Okay.
when we were eating that at that restaurant,
Yeah.
and we ate that full sea bream, and it was the first whole fish I've ever had.
Yeah, head on.
Head on.
Had a face.
So good.
Delicious.
Sea bream is delicious fish. But I also, like, I asked you, because I was like, do you mind if I dig in the head a little bit at the table? Because I didn't want to do that in front of a restaurant full of people and you, and I'm doing veterinary surgery on this, cooked fish head.
I love digging around, getting the cheek out.
Yeah, so that's my thing, is like, everyone's like, the cheek, the cheek, the cheek. Oh, the cheek of this, the cheek of that. I would argue that after tasting the cheek and the tail, that the tail might be better than the cheek.
Wow.
I think so, because like I know that the idea behind the cheek's deliciousness is it's always in motion, whether it's chewing or breathing. Like, it is a muscle that is going to town. Please.
Yeah, I was just going to say, the scallop, like the part of the scallop that we eat. When you see the full scallop in its shell, it's got a ton of meat around it, but the scallop that is served to you on your plate in most places is just the muscle that works the shell.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Cool. So scallops are all cheek.
Scallops are, what we get served, but the full thing, I think they're called coquilles Saint-Jacques when they're served, at least in France, I guess that's what they call them. And it's like, it's like a full shellfish with like all of the other stuff in there. It's amazing.
Whoa,
Yeah.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
Damn, now I'm already thinking about Valentine's Day, like getting super high, eating scallop cheeks,
Yes.
smoking weed, and having sex. Golly.
Wait, what about the fishtail though?
So-
Sorry to derail.
Oh, no, I like learning from you. So I after tasting the cheek and tasting the tail, like I feel like the tail has like a richer, more, I don't know, not potent. Like I feel like the cheek is hearty and lovely, but there was something about eating the tail because it has that same musculature. It has that same always in motion, whether you're a sea bream or a salmon or
No matter
any
who
of
you
them.
are in the
no
fish
matter who
world.
you are in the fish world, I feel like your tail's always popping.
Well, it definitely had a higher, I feel like that particular piece of meat had a higher oil content and it was like a little bit of dark, like it was kind of darker meat.
It felt like a dark meat.
Yeah.
It did, like a chicken. Yeah, it was like, sorry, tuna.
You're saying that fishtail is the chicken thigh of the sea?
Yes. Yes.
Nice.
Fishtail is the chicken thigh of the sea.
You heard it here first.
Darker, more robust, more flavorful, a little more oily, a little more fatty, but all around just a better piece than the breast.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
I fucking love it.
I do too. Wow. Okay.
We got there.
Like, this is the first time we ever get letters about fishtails. Furthermore.
Well, it's so like for my friends who fish in Alaska, the collar of the fish is like a really like black cod collars are often smoked, and that's like also like another really funny part of the fish that you don't get when you buy it at fucking Whole Foods or wherever, where they like only serve the fillets.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's got to be somewhere in Los Angeles that we can go. Maybe we'll see it in Broken Bread, one of the markets that they profile in there, where you can go and you can get the whole fish, and we can buy some different fishtails from different types of fish and do a little fishtail experiment.
I would love to do some fishtail R&D. That would be really cool. And there has to be those markets in those places, especially watching all of the local grocers like Sarah's and Broken Bread and stuff like that. Yeah. I got to get the fuck out of Amazon Whole Foods
Get
and
out.
start supporting more.
I need to stop going to Trader Joe's.
They don't have Hamachi collar at Trader Joe's?
Yeah, no more clamshell packaging for your one shallot at Whole Foods. Let's go to some fucking like real bins at some real stores and dig through them for cool stuff.
100%.
Yes.
100%. That's exciting. Well, before we talk about Broken Bread, can we talk about the food truck?
Yes.
Kogi?
Oh
Excuse
my
me,
God.
Kogi for a second?
It was so awesome. I was just working late night and you came over laden with a whole delivery from Kogi. It was just incredible.
The heft on that bag.
It was
We
some
talk about
serious heft.
food heft all the time when it's like to go or delivery. Like, that bag better have heft.
Yeah.
This was a two-hander. This is two-handed heft right here.
It was heavy. It was the animals went nuts the second you walked in the door. It's just like the aroma of the whole thing. So we had
I'll pull it up.
short rib tacos. Mm-hmm. We had we kind of you got one thing from every portion of the menu, right?
I did the best I could. So we got short rib tacos, we got spicy pork tacos, we got tofu tacos, chicken tacos, we got the Kogi dog, which
Yes.
we didn't get to talk with Chef Choi about, but like putting a Hebrew national hot dog, which is my heritage being a Jewish kid, into this like Korean Los Angeles Mexican fusion and having like a little piece of my culture in it was not only delicious, but it just like, I don't know, it warmed me up a bit. Like that felt really cool to have a Hebrew national be a part of such delicious food. So thank you. And that was really nice to feel a little pride in my culture as well.
That's really awesome. And it was fucking delicious. And I had to fight you for the last bite. I ate the last bite when you went to the bathroom.
Yeah, you did. I did notice that. I hadn't brought it up. Statement.
Sorry.
Statement.
I, Mary Jane Gibson, do not apologize for eating the last absolutely delicious bite of the Kogi dog that you bought and brought to my house. Sorry. Not sorry.
Thank you. We also tried the blackjack quesadilla, which was dynamite.
That was one of my favorite things.
Agreed. So that one is spicy pork married together with melting cheddar and jack cheese in a huge flour tortilla grilled until crisp. Come on.
I mean, yeah, he started with one truck, right? Chef Choi?
I believe so. And now he has 4 trucks.
Yeah.
And if you live here, maybe you already had it. And if you don't live here and you visit, like, fuck Pink's or whatever that hot dog place is. Like, all the places that LA tells you should go, don't. Go to a place like this.
Yes, find a Kogi truck. And also, if you're in Vegas, he has a restaurant called Best Friend that I am so excited about. It just looks like, I haven't been, and I'm so excited the next time I'm in Vegas to go, because it's an art installation, basically, that is the sort of like the front of house, and you walk through this store.
This bodega,
A bodega into the restaurant, and it just looks amazing.
Cannot wait. Are you saying we should go to Vegas?
Yes, I'm saying we should go to Vegas,
All right,
Mike.
let's go to Vegas.
Go to
The
Vegas.
Cosmopolitan Hotel keeps sending me pitches for 3 free nights. Let's go.
Let's go.
Okay.
I'm in.
And there's just 2 scientists following us around Vegas. Where's she going? Where's he going?
Oh my gosh.
So let's talk broken bread before we get to our interview with Chef.
Yes. Well, we
have our Buds of the Week too.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm flying.
We are lucky enough to have previewed some episodes of Broken Bread, which is airing now, the 2nd season. And it's an Emmy and James Beard award-winning series that is focusing on the future of the restaurant industry as seen through a social justice lens in 6 new episodes. And, we watched them, and I can't recall having been so thoroughly moved by TV like this recently. And also, like, and we talk about this with Chef, like the hope that it gives you for humanity, for the future of the industry, for the kind and amazing and good people who are doing the great work in the industry that don't get shouted out that often and
100%.
are highlighted in this series. It's truly like exceptional television that you will love. It will make you feel good. It will make you hungry. It will make you happy. You will feel things. It's incredible.
Community.
Yeah.
For me, like community.
Yep.
I was learning about Dodger Stadium and I had no idea the history of Dodger Stadium.
Right.
Community.
Yep.
Yeah. 1 Sumo Snack and then Buds of the Week.
Let's do it.
Okay. Because I think we chose our Buds of the Week this week because of Broken Bread.
That's right.
And like kind of how hard it hit us, right?
Yeah, we wanted to highlight some friends who are working in LA and doing the thing. I'm Michael Walker, who has Comfy Pup, which is his pop-up where he makes amazing Chicago-style hot dogs and a terrific pork schnitzel sandwich, I think, and he's doing collabs with all kinds of places. Like he had recently, he just did a pizza collaboration.
We might be doing one coming up
around
around 420.
He's got like ice cream collaborations and ice cream cookie sandwiches, all sorts of stuff. Follow him at comfypup_LA to see what he's up to and find out where he is. And if you're in Los Angeles, like go visit. It's really worth it. His food is terrific. He puts his heart and soul into it.
It's him. It's just him.
Yeah. And it's like funny and cool and interesting, just like Michael is. Oh, he also just started a 90-second podcast where he's doing soda reviews.
Awesome.
Called All the Bubbles, Everything But Bubbles. We'll put a note in the show notes. But follow Michael at comfypup_LA.
And my Bud of the Week this week is another trio who during the pandemic kind of lost everything that was moving forwards, and so they bet on themselves, and they came together as three tight-knit friends and opened up De La Nonna Restaurant, DeLanonna, De La Nonna Restaurant. Follow them at DeLaNonna_LA. The pizza and wine list is incredible. It's this really fun spot downtown that feels electric. I saw Chuck English from Cool Kids DJ there, while this hip hop artist who, if you know, you know, his name is Buddy. He's super on the come up, and he was hanging out there. Like, it just feels like the hot spot in our city, and it's being brought to us by three friends who are working 100-hour weeks. 100-hour weeks,
Yeah.
you know? And they're gluten-free pizza. Unbelievable.
Yeah. The night that I was there with you celebrating Joel's birthday, there was a magic in the air. I mean, talking about community, there was a magic that was drawn together by the incredible food, the space, the vibe, the music, the people that we were with, and it felt really special. Like they've hit on something really cool and special.
Yeah, right. We're all special. We're all special.
That's the takeaway.
I'm going to find socks that work. It's going to be fine. I'm not worried. I'm very worried.
Long socks. Go to the long sock game.
Maybe so. Maybe so. I'm just going to start wearing, like, my dad wears golden toes.
Oh.
Like those black socks with the golden toe business sock. Maybe that'll make a comeback. I don't know, Mary
Okay.
Jane. Let's get to Chef.
Our VIB, Chef Roy Choi.
An incredible life,
Yeah.
an incredible human, a very kind heart, and I hope we get to smoke sometime.
Yeah.
Because the first time we saw Chef was at Outside Lands.
That's right.
After he did a great cooking demo with Rico Nasty that the crowd was as big as that as it was for Lizzo, and that was awesome.
Yeah, it was really thrilling to see how excited people were to see Chef, and just, you know, like the way his vibe shone from that stage. He radiated energy out to a crowd of, you know, however many, 10,000 people. It was wild.
Unreal. And then we were lucky enough to chat with him to talk about Broken Bread, and hopefully we can smoke with him sometime.
IRL.
Do some cooking.
And have him back on the pod anytime. All the time.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
New co-host, I'm out. Am I out?
I think you'd probably turf me.
You
We get into fisticuffs over it. Just a new podcast where we fight over who gets to talk to Chef.
I love it. Every week. Here we go. Shall we?
Yes.
All right. Well, without further ado, here is our interview with
Chef Roy Choi.
What's up, Weed and Grub friends? If you live in a state without legal cannabis, you might think there aren't a lot of options out there. You should check out Quinn.
Quinn is an alt cannabinoid brand that's getting creative with cannabinoids sourced from hemp. They've created formulas that mimic some of today's most popular cannabis strains.
Like what?
Well, I'll tell you, Mike, like Blue Dream, GG4, Girl Scout cookies, they've got Super Sour Diesel, and because it's sourced from hemp, they can ship to all 50 states.
What? Yo, that's very nice. All 50 states? Come on. All their products are third-party tested, and they only use the cleanest ingredients to give you a quality high. They've got edibles, vapes, concentrates, and a line of CBD products.
And we've got a coupon code to get you 25% off your next order. Use code WEED and GRUB at checkout.
Visit myquinn.com. That's MYQWIN.com. myquinn.com. And use code WEED and GRUB, all one word, for 25% off at checkout.
That's MYQWIN, myquinn.com. Use code WEED and GRUB.
If you live in one of the 50 states, get on board. All right, well, while I spark this, Mary Jane, please
Yes.
take it away.
Hey!
Hold on, your name is Mary Jane?
Yes, my name is Mary Jane.
Oh my God, talk about destiny. Yeah. Shit.
Thank you.
I'm sure you hear that a lot, but I'm sorry, it just blew my mind.
It definitely worked out. And
Yeah, it
I'm
worked out.
so glad to be talking to you. I actually wrote the Cannabis copy for the first season of Broken Bread for the Cannabis episode that accompanied the Cannabis app on the website, and it was a
Oh,
proud
that was
moment.
perfect, yeah.
Yeah. We were just watching that episode, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. I thought we, you know, with who we were and, you know, the resources we had at that time and just where the world was, and, you know, we were still a show figuring ourselves out. I'm proud of what we did, but I feel like if I was to tackle cannabis in season 3 or even in this season, we could have done so much more, you know, but I'm happy with that one too.
Yeah. Well, the last time we saw you, you were actually coming off stage at Outside Lands. You had just been doing a cooking demo with Rico Nasty, and the energy in that whole crowd was so amazing. And we said, hey, and you came off and we said hello quickly, and we were like, do you have good weed? And you were like, I have everything I need.
Oh, that's why you guys look familiar.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I did have everything I needed at Outside Lands. Yeah, after I saw you, I had my own Outside Lands for the rest of the night. Yeah, it was
Nice.
Well, congratulations on Broken Bread season 2.
Oh, thank you.
We've been watching the episodes, and it's I mean, I don't know, it's so moving and beautiful, and it feels so vital to what's happening right now in the world, and all of the cast of characters are so incredible. So congratulations.
Thank you. And all of that was, it was on purpose. It was a goal of ours to make the show feel bigger, to make it more cinematic, to take away any barriers of entry or giving anyone any opportunity to pigeonhole it or put it in some corner as indie or public television or this or that. I wanted this show to be able, especially in season 2, to exist wherever. Network, 8 p.m. on a Thursday, it didn't matter. Netflix, as their biggest food show, whatever the case may be, we have the right partners, Public Television Tastemade, to allow me to have, try to go on that journey. They gave me all the resources to make the show as big as possible, and I don't think we're completely there, but I think we unlocked a lot of things in season 2.
Does that mean you want to go bigger and bolder, or?
I just wanted to continue to mature and find, if I could use kind of an analogy of like Anthony Bourdain, if you look at, the arc of his shows, like you start with Cook's Tour to No Reservations to CNN to Parts Unknown, the shows essentially are the same, right? It's the same show, but the show itself got bigger. It developed, it matured. And I kind of see the same thing for Broken Bread in its own way, where season 1, it started as a show where we were kind of figuring it out as we were filming it. It was a very regional show. It was very hyper-focused on my own neighborhoods and my own reach. And I was very familiar with a lot of the people already, so there were a lot of things that were there were training wheels on it. This season, again, was a step into making it bigger. We went international by going to Tijuana. We made it more personal. Like if you had gotten to the Chinatown episode, we used different lenses in introspection. Again, the cinematography, the music. It just, I got more involved in things that I wasn't as much involved in season 1, editing, all these things, it's just, we just dug deeper.
We were watching the show last night. The Food as Resistance episode especially was so moving and fascinating when you were talking to Ricardo, who has the business, the Tortilla Kernel of Truth business, and the fact that he's taking this, like growing the heirloom corn into this, like, tortilla making, passing down the lessons from history. It made me think about the small cannabis growers in California as well, and a lot of them are losing their way of life. The farms in Northern California are really struggling under legalization.
That's a very good through line and analogy, because a lot of times we don't want to confront these things, but when you hear it directly from those that are trying to do the right thing, that are trying to protect the diversity and bring in, I don't mean organic in farming, but just organic in humanity, in approaching things, in the right way, whether that's making a tortilla or making a masa or growing cannabis or protecting seeds, as you'll see later in in the Seed to Table episode, they're all connected, interconnected, because basically the thing that links them all together is that if they don't continue to hold their ground and do what they do, and Rick said it the best, there's no one else wanting to do this behind me. So if I stop doing this, this stops here. And if I stop here, and if I stop fighting, if I stop doing it, and there are no younger generations coming in to take over for me, that only leaves room for conglomerates and corporations to come in. And then eventually we'll lose everything. And everything, every bud, every seed, every tomato, every tortilla, there will be no strains. It will all be monoculture strains. Everything will be controlled by some larger force. We'll have no diversity. We'll have no ability to experience what it could have tasted like, or what it, or the nuances of certain things. We'll all have the same high. We'll all have the same flavor. We'll all have the same texture on everything, and that's a scary world, man.
Yeah.
People think like other shit is scary. That shit is scary, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like where everything tastes the same. Everything.
Mm-hmm.
Every single bud that you smoke is exactly the same.
Yeah.
It's like Tylenol. Basically,
Right.
weed will become a Tylenol pill. If we don't have the small farmers and the diversity in the seed banks and the small tortilla makers continuing to fight for what's. And the most powerful thing about that is that they're doing these things against every single odds that are presented to them. They're picking the long shot on everything. There is nothing other than the true ideological belief that this craft has to be protected and carry on that drives Rick, because it's not a profit center. It's not a thing that people are flocking to say, hey, it's not NOMA for reservations. It's not like people are like, there's a 9-month wait list to become a tortillero. It's like he's saying that if I give this up, then I watch The Witcher. He's one of the last of the Witchers.
Yeah, and the way he was talking about having access to that corn and those genetics as well, and the fact that like growing, I just think about the weed growers who fight for the right to be able to grow their own cannabis under, as legalization proceeds. And there's just so many parallels with having access to the plants and being able to grow your own food to feed yourself is such an empowering thing that I think so many of us are so cut off from. I mean, I've certainly never grown my own food, and
yeah,
it's just
and that leads us. That's all connected with everything we're trying to say in this show. You can pull that, everything you just said. You can pull that all the way back to what Alice Waters said. Because if we're not careful, this whole world we're designed to believe that scale is everything, time is money, growth is everything, like bigger is better. And she's warning us that bigger is not better. Time is not money. If we continue on this path, there will be no regenerative soil. We will lose all of our nutrients and antibodies, and we will eventually be a species that relies so much on synthetic materials and monoculture to keep us alive, because we will have no diversity of bacteria and I'm talking like I know what the hell I'm talking about. But
you know what you're talking about.
We won't have any of that shit,
Yeah.
that diverse shit within us to protect us from and to connect us. Not only just protect us, but to connect us to how dynamic the world is,
yeah, the sterility of that monoculture. It was so exciting in the episode to watch that night market with, all of those vendors just, bringing their, and there was like no, oversight or agencies coming in, but they ultimately were shut down, you said. And it's such a shame because like that,
But I wish we had more opportunity to tell even more sides of that story, because it wasn't just because it was their fault that trash built up. If you look at the history of Avenue 26, throughout the growth of it, they were pleading to city, local government to provide them with sanitation and trash cans, and cleanup. But no calls were being answered, But they have to continue on because they just have to live, But they're aware of the situation. They're saying, hey, listen, I don't have all of the resources or information or education to understand what it takes or what forms I need to do all this, but I need to let you all know that we're growing beyond capacity and we need help. And no one listened until it was time to shut them down.
How does that feel as someone who said they were pretty rebellious?
I still think that I'm being rebellious and challenging the system, but in a new, mature way. This is who I've become as an adult, and a lot of things that I do and the decisions that I make, I always use like a part of my younger self as the bullshit kind of like measuring stick of everything. Like I always, whatever I try to do, I try to think of like, when I was like 18, 19, 17, 20, whatever, like if I saw this version of me, like would I be cool with that dude, And I think I would, because, maybe I'm not doing it with two middle fingers in the air all the time and telling people to fuck off and, and doing all this, but I am going to the core of issues that people don't want to talk about and that are not being shared. And that a lot of times when people have this opportunity to have a show of their own, that they don't leverage everything that they are to make sure that that they put it out there for the people, because they have the risk of being canceled or the risk of not having a season renewed. For me, it's about the moment. It's about, okay, if this opportunity is here now, I'm not going to squander anything, because I'm going to use this opportunity to make sure everyone hears the fact that there are kids, thousands and thousands of kids that can't access fruit, vegetables, or nutrients. That that we're on the brink of seeds being extinct within 10 to 15 years. That we have neighborhoods that are historically black, but that could within 5 years, if no one stands up for them, could be pushed out and not be black anymore and be gentrified. These are things that really matter and care. And so I don't know if it's a matter of like that I'm not breaking rules anymore, or that I'm following them. I think it's that I'm using my experience and the things that I've gone through in life, and just where I am and the platforms that I have to be able to get everyone to understand. In the last 5 to 10 years, I've really worked hard on, just become a person that just emanates and represents love and generosity. I'm not perfect, man. There are days where I just want to punch the fuck out of people, But I've really tried to just shift my whole existence into taking the high road, no pun intended. But taking the high road, taking the high road towards everything, in business, in art, in life, in food, in anything, to where if I become the laughing stock or I become the stepping stone or whatever it is, I don't care. I've completely separated myself, my purpose from my ego. And I just want to use whatever I have to be some sort of reasonable voice in the room. Mm-hmm. That says, like, this stuff is broken, man. This can't continue this way. And instead of blaming you for it, let me show you how we can fix it. I'm a chef. At the end of the day, I'm a chef. And the thing about us as cooks and chefs, we're solution-based people, right? So it's really hard for us sometimes to exist within this normal outside world. Because in our world, in our insular world, in the kitchen, everything is solution based. If you have something that's not working, if the walk-in's down, if the produce is wilted or something's rotten or something doesn't taste right, you don't just admit that it's wrong and just leave it there. Everything is about figuring out what made it wrong or how to fix it and moving on and kind of the show must go on, and I'm just trying to take that approach that I am as a chef in the kitchen and move that into the real world. And this show is helping me kind of like figure that out.
I think one of the things that's so compelling about the show too is that we get to watch you do that on screen. Like just thinking about the Cannabis episode in season 1, for instance, there was a moment when you were questioning the sort of like the motives of the people who were attending the dinner party, because some of them weren't sure that they were really even comfortable with. And you were like, I've got this guy on one shoulder who maybe would have had the 2 middle fingers up in the air. And then you were talking to the other, part of yourself saying, well, maybe I need to open my mind. And it was so cool to watch you sort of work through it. And by the end of the episode, you'd kind of come to a whole new conclusion.
I'm glad you picked up on that. And that's a great example because, I've been smoking weed for 37 years.
Wow.
Nice.
I've been smoking weed. It's a cess, indica, Thai stick, man, resin. I've been smoking hash. I've been smoking weed for 37 years. So I've seen a lot, and the thing about that segment in the episode is there is still trauma and a scar of when people used to point their finger at us as stoners, and then now I've been fortunate to still stay alive, and I'm seeing this world where the same people that were pointing their fingers at us are now stoners, but they've still picked it apart so that it's not as dirty to them as they want it to be. And so that was what that was all about. Because the old me would have been like, I would have knocked the pipe right out their hand,
Right.
But now it's like, all right, maybe weed is not only what I think it needs to be. Because there was that time back then in the 90s and stuff where it was just like, it was precious to us, you know what I mean? Like, it was like punk, it was like punk shows. It's like posers, the whole era of posers, like, you didn't want to be a poser, I was raised on like OG shit, like you represent, and like, it's just this whole world now is just so weird because people can become chefs by watching YouTube and call themselves chefs. They can smoke weed but not be labeled as stoners, and they it's just so weird. And I had to work through that old version of myself, and the weird thing is I understand it, because again, being more mature, it allows me to say like, maybe I'm part of the problem too, just like in the Chinatown episode. Maybe I'm part of the problem. Maybe I'm holding back the evolution and development of where we can go, of what cannabis can do. If cannabis can become more mainstream, then maybe it can help people to understand each other more, so much divisiveness now in the world. Like, I just think like if people could just smoke a joint and eat tacos together, like we could solve so much shit,
Truly.
And that's not even a joke. Like we could seriously just bring down the level of antagonism and finger pointing and blame and everything, just like see each other for the first time, and then we just use that as therapy over and over again and just keep working on it. And that episode helped me see that kind of the third eye of seeing the future of maybe there's a world where that can possibly happen.
The show honestly feels like the way forward. It feels like there is hope for humanity when you watch the people that you're talking to do the work that they're doing, as opposed to so many of the stressed out food shows that are on,
Other places.
Other places that are, competitive and timed, and there's like
the whole competitive food thing is weird. It's because food is not ultimately fundamentally, cooking is not designed to beat someone, you know? And so the whole premise of it is flawed, you know, because it's not a sport, you know, it's not a duel. It's not a sport where I beat you and your food becomes worthless and my food becomes worthy, you know, and it's just so weird how that's become the fascination of who we are as far as loving food as a country and as a society. But yeah, we're just trying to make a show that shows the real side of the industry and the real food, and you know, and does try to bring hope, like you said, you know, like because the real like funnel in which we try to give hope is I try to show you how hopeful I am by meeting these people that we're showing on screen, right? And hopefully through the hope that I'm going through viscerally, you can feel it, and then you can see everything going on, and that things aren't hopeless, and that because like right now, it does feel sometimes that there is no hope, there is no answer, and you know, and there's plenty of stuff out there to scare us, and there's so much rhetoric and so many headlines and all these viral tags that are just really, really messing with our mental stability and our sense and understanding of reality. And there's just so much negativity in the world that I just feel like there's a place for us to see just truly inspiring stories, you know, and inspiring people, and heroes and stars and leaders that aren't curated and crafted by an industry, you know, that aren't run through some cycle like K-pop is, where you create it through a camp and then, or Hollywood, and you create the star. You know, like these are true stars and true leaders. They just don't have the platform. The industry just doesn't invest in that. And so we're just trying, you know, once you see them, you're just going to be inspired no matter what, you know.
I wanted to ask you about how meeting all of these people has changed you, how it's unlocked your creativity, of course, because we love Chef and watching you, you know, on screen in that show as well. And it just seems like it's unlocked new creative aspects of your personality, not only as a chef, but as an artist. Do you feel like Broken Bread has done the same, that it's changed you as
Broken Bread, every bit about Broken Bread changes not only me, but everyone who's involved in the show. You know, like being in the television industry, a lot of this industry, you kind of go from job to job, right? Like it's a little bit of a freelance world out here. But everyone that comes off of Broken Bread, because a lot of jobs in the freelance world, you end up doing sometimes uninspiring shit, you know, like you're going from commercial to commercial, or you're doing, you know, like a pharmaceutical commercial or something. You know, you just working, man. You just holding the camera or holding the mic, you know. Sometimes every job is not an investment in the depth and character of what you're doing. Sometimes it's just a job, but everyone that works on Broken Bread just walks away and they just can't stop thinking about it, talking about it, going back to the places that we cover and being a part of it. For me, it changes me a lot because, you know, I know a lot of people like look to me for certain things because I've done certain things, and I can be like someone that inspires maybe someone out there that's trying to start a food truck, or, you know, a television show, or open a restaurant, or being a minority in an industry that it's already hard to begin with, being someone that's kind of broke through. They can see that there is room for them in there, and all those things. For me, I find inspiration in the people that we cover on the show. Because they're doing the things that that I want to do, but because of where my life has come, I can't be on the ground every day doing it. But they are, you know, they are the ones that are protecting the seas. They are the ones that are feeding the children. They are the ones that are fighting for organic produce within marginalized neighborhoods. They are the ones that are fighting to protect, you know, tortillas and masa and heirloom corn. You know, and those are things for me that inspire me every day, and I just try to be their ally and their megaphone so that I can amplify their voices, and that's my purpose in my relationship to them. But yeah, I'm just inspired by everyone I meet there, and it just the more and more I film the show, and the deeper we get, I realize the more and more I do it that I'm not alone. Because sometimes when you try to be, the how do I say this without sounding like a fucking piece of shit? When you try to be righteous, when you try to think, have an ethical core, and you try to take the high road, do the slow path, be the turtle, try to do the things that are morally right, try to have some sort of moral compass. Sometimes you feel alone in this world, Sometimes you feel you're too idealistic. Sometimes you feel you're too naive. Sometimes you feel like, everyone's kind of condescending and laughing at you because you're saying these things like profit doesn't matter. Everyone deserves, all boats need to rise. Everyone deserves a livable wage. Everyone deserves access to produce and nutrients. Everyone deserves, a proper education and welfare. And people need to be, the criminal justice system needs to be equalized so that people aren't criminalized where some others are glorified for. And you're saying, you're fighting and saying, and you're believing in all these things, but sometimes it feels very lonely, because the world itself is telling you that these things don't matter, that only profit matters, scale matters, all these things. So through Broken Bread, what's changed me is every time I do it, I just feel less and less alone, because I meet someone like Alice Waters, I meet someone like Uyen Lee, I meet someone like Kristen Leach, I meet someone like Ricardo, and I just don't feel as alone anymore.
Amazing.
It's beautiful.
One more question. What's your favorite weed and grub combo?
Weed and grub combo? Bro, like a burrito is pretty stony.
Yeah.
Right? There's just like something about a burrito. It's just something really stony about a burrito, right? Like when you bite into it, there's a peekaboo element. You reveal something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then every bite is a little different. And then you get deeper and deeper and deeper. And then there's the whole challenge of keeping it together.
Uh-huh.
And I think a burrito is probably the most stoniest thing ever. Yeah, the beautiful thing about burritos is I'm a burrito cook, right? And the beautiful thing about weed and burritos is that every night after 9 p.m., if you go to the Kogi truck or the Kogi Taqueria back in the day, and you look at our line, that's when the red eyes come out.
We were there last night.
Our whole customer base changes after 9 p.m.
That's
and
awesome.
I love it because I'm behind the scenes looking at them, and I look down the line and I see like 85% of the line is all red eyes. And I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah. That's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Chef. Thank you.
All right. Peace.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.